إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. الحمد لله حمدا طيبا مباركا كما ينبغي لجلال وجهه ولعظيم سلطانه. الحمد لله الذي بفضله ونعمته وكرمه تتم الصالحات، واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له، واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، بلغ الرساله وادى الامانه ونصح لهذه الامه. فاللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد النبي وعلى آله وأصحابه الطاهرين الطيبين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. ثم أما بعد، يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. ثم أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we bear witness there is no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we glorify Him, and we're grateful and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that brought us here today. And we bear witness there is no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and indeed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam is His messenger, His servant, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have brought to all of us, mankind in general, with mercy, with compassionate, and more important, with the guidance that all of us are indulged in today. The fruits of Islam that all of us are taking it today. But the question that I pose to myself and yourself today is, are we truly indulged in practicing what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have brought to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In a month that, according to the majority of the scholars, the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, where the Prophet ﷺ came to be the most important human being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought to mankind. It's a supplication from his grandfather Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story in Surah Al-Baqarah, where you have Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam and his son Ismail raising the foundation of the Masjid al-Haram. And then Sayyidina Ibrahim, 2 verses later, says, supplicating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رَبَّنَا وَابْعَثْ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ. Oh Allah, bring a prophet from among themselves. يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. Oh Allah, bring from among them a prophet, a messenger, that reads upon them your book. يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ, and to teach them, to teach us the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have brought upon the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And more important, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ, and the word tazkiyah here is inclusive of everything. One needs to purify himself or herself, because just practicing our deen and our religion without seeing the fruit of purification in your heart and in your daily affair and your conduct, whether with your family, with your community, or with your co-worker, does not mean anything. Islam, as we all know it to be, a way of life. And in today's busy life, in today's so materialistic life, that people so worried so much about how much wealth do they have, how much power do we have, the true practice of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam can tend to disappear, wal-'iyadhu billah. With the exception that those Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with His mercy, and these are the few. When you compare yourselves today to say your forefather, your grandfather, or your great-grandfather, and how simple life was, and how committed to this deen they were, and look at our situation today, and look at our children, we make the same dua that Sayyidina Ibrahim have made. And this is the verse before the one I just recited, where Sayyidina Ibrahim now is also supplicating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رَبَّنَا وَجْعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ. Oh Allah, bless us to be a Muslim, not only with name, but with action. رَبَّنَا وَجْعَلْنَا, talking about himself and talking about his son Ismail alayhi salam. But Sayyidina Ibrahim, the merciful that he is, he did not forget about all of us. رَبَّنَا وَاجْعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا. And from our offspring, where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to be, from the great children of Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. And then all of us came to be. All of us came to be a practicing Muslim, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our offspring, our dhurriya, our young men and women who are sitting here listening today, one day inshallah ta'ala, after we're all gone, they'll be here occupying this place. They'll be here in this place remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be here in this place reciting the Quran. They'll be here in this place teaching. And some of them could be a resident scholar of this place, and among many other places that we have seen around us as masajid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we commemorate this month of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's birth, or at least again according to the scholar, some of the scholars also said he died in the same day he was brought to life, the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. We need to reflect on his life. We need to leave here today committed to a point or two, or an action or two. I'm not saying be the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this is a tall order to ask. I'm not saying be Abu Bakr al-Siddiq or Umar or Uthman and Ali and so on and so forth, because it is also a tall order to ask. But I'm saying to myself and yourself, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was so compassionate that all of us today can take this nugget or this point with us. Let me give you a hadith that is narrated in both Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari. You'll be amazed. If this happened today, what your reaction and my reaction would be. It was narrated that a Bedouin, an Arabi. And as I'm going to tell you the story and his action, you have to at least guesstimate or think that this person has not been a Muslim yet, he's not accepted Islam yet. He walks in the Prophet's masjid, the Masjid al-Nabawi, where the companions are sitting. The Prophet ﷺ is sitting with them. And the hadith says, he actually, the Bedouin or Arabi, start to urinate in the masjid. I want you to imagine this. Somebody just walks in today and he starts urinating somewhere else, here in this place. Most of us, include myself, our reaction would be furious. There's no mercy. There's no compassion. Get him out of here. We can even tolerate a young man or a young woman or a kid making a noise here without us going crazy. But what did the Prophet ﷺ do? The companions were actually about to go crazy. They were about to kick him out. But our beloved Prophet ﷺ, that Allah described him in the Quran, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not brought you but a mercy to mankind. He did exemplify mercy. The true mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to be. The companions was rushing to kick him out or at least tell him to stop. And the Prophet ﷺ responded quickly to the companion and says, leave him alone. Think about that. Leave him alone, because he knew sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that this man needed to do what he needed to do. And he did not want to interrupt any need that this man wanted it. So the companion obeyed the command of the Prophet ﷺ. And inshallah ta'ala, as you hear the name of the Prophet ﷺ, it's a free hasanat. And I've made this comment before. When you hear somebody saying the name of Rasulullah ﷺ, please say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because you are getting the Prophet to respond to you, and you're getting so much hasanat for doing nothing. Just put your tongue saying sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. After the man was finished, the Prophet ﷺ turned out to him and says, oh my brother, this place is not for someone to urinate. This is a place where we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a place where we pray. This is a place where good gathering is happening. And he simply ordered the Sahaba, he says, just get me a bucket of water, because the water is pure. Tahir. That's what we used to make wudu. And he said to them, simply throw water on the spot, sweep it away. In our case, in the days, it was sand, so we'll just seep right through. In our case, we're going to sweep it away. And he started teaching the man. Had he screamed at the man, had the Sahaba kicked him out, perhaps this man will never become a Muslim after that. So our behaviors with one another, or even with non-Muslims, because as I say, you can conclude from the story that this man was not a Muslim, because if you're a Muslim, you know this is a masjid, you're not going to urinate in it anyway. But this is the kind of behavior that the Prophet ﷺ had exemplified and showed us. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu wa ardah, who grew in the household of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as a servant of the Prophet. He says, I have served the Prophet ﷺ for 10 years. He has never told me, when he asked me to do something, he never came back and said, why didn't you do it? How come it's late? In some other words, he had never interrogated Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu wa ardah. We interrogate each other every single day. In fact, some of us takes the pride of it, wal-'iyadhu billah. Because it got you. I know better than you do. So as we reflect on these ayat, and as we reflect on the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, which with all honesty, we need to reflect on it more and more and more. Because reflecting on it once a year, it's not enough. The Prophet ﷺ used to be the most spiritual person in the face of the earth, yet he was also the most practical. And I'm afraid, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, that as we go through just the ritual of building masajid, of building Islamic school, of doing this and this and this and that, which is all great projects, there's no doubt it's needed, especially in the United States of America. because it serves us extremely well, alhamdulillah. And you can see behind us, we're trying to expand. You can look at the MCGP, you can look at MBIC, alhamdulillah, it's all needed, it's all great. But the question that we need to be asking ourselves, are we teaching the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ enough in those masajid? Do we have enough scholars sitting in these masajid? Keep in mind, the first thing the Prophet ﷺ have done when he immigrated to Medina was establishing the masjid. But it was not just establishing the masjid for the sake of prayer. He established the masjid because the masjid was everything to them. They prayed, they congregate, they socialize, they discuss even war affair, they learn and taught. The masjid was the center. It was the center of gravity for all the Muslim community and continued to be for years. In fact, the qadi, the judge, used to actually sit in the masjid and take cases. It was not sitting on a bench somewhere, some rich person somewhere that people cannot even get in touch with. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, just for the sake of the time, as time is always short and critical on Friday, and it's already 1:30. Let me share this story with you. Again, it's a story that most of us have heard before, most of us have studied before, but we need to embody this. We need to practice this. During Fath Makkah, very well-known story. When the Prophet ﷺ, not only he had suffered for almost 22 years, 13 in Mecca and 9 in Medina, or 8 in Medina, 22 years. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him and gave him the ability to take Mecca back after all the suffering. And the disbeliever of Mecca at the time posed that question to the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he said to him, or he posed the question to them saying, مَا تَظُنُّونَ أَنِّي فَاعِلٌ بِكُمْ. You've tortured me. You throw me out of my beloved city. You took our wealth. You took our houses. You killed me of the companion. What do you think I'm going to do to you today? The disbeliever responded and said, أَخٌ كَرِيمٌ وَابْنُ أَخٍ كَرِيمٌ. A testimony from the disbeliever who hates the guts of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam at this time. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. A testimony from them saying to him, we know you to be an honorable brother, a son of an honorable brother. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم, according to one narration, اذهبوا فأنتم الطلقاء. He says, go, you're free to select whatever you want to select. You want to become Muslims, alhamdulillah. You want to go on in your life, alhamdulillah. In another narration, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam recited the ayah from Surah Yusuf. When Yusuf alayhi salam, at the end of all this hardship, and you all know the story of Sayyidina Yusuf, and if you don't, please read Surah Yusuf, because as Allah described it, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Surah Yusuf. For those of you who had not had the time to read it, go ahead please and read it. It's the most complete and beautiful story in the Quran. Allah said so, not me, not scholarly opinion. At the end of all these years he spent in jail and whatnot, and finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala united him with his brothers, who threw him in the well and all the suffering that he went through. He said to them, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. Prophet recited the same ayah. He says, you know what? No worry upon you today. Don't you worry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you. Not only that, you do not worry for what you have caused me and my companion of hardship, but I'm also asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you. How many of us, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, even try? Forget about doing it. Even bring yourself and humble yourself and bring yourself down a little bit to say to a brother and sister, you know what? I do apologize. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. Just try. Because trying in itself, according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is such a big deal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the ability of each and every one of us. So when you try to do something, Allah knows if you're sincere or not, if you're saying it for the right reason or not. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you accordingly. So trying in itself is something good. Because if you don't try, you'll never get there. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه لعله يغفر لكم. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح بهذه الأمة. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. ثم أما بعد، يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وأصدق القائلين إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله عليه وسلم. Let me conclude with this, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And this is one of the qualities of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that many of us, include myself, kind of miss today. And that is putting our trust, complete trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there is so many ahadith and so many ayat that there is no time to recite it here or mention it, that simply says that you gain in nothing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not written for you. No matter how hard you try. And no one is going to harm you with things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not written upon you. Should we work hard? Of course. The companion have questioned the Prophet when they heard this hadith. This was narrated by Ibn Abbas. He says, Ya Rasulullah, فيما العمل إذن. So why should we even try to work if this is the case? فقال صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم اعملوا فكل ميسر لما خلق له. He says, you do not know the outcome, only Allah knows it. So your job is to do, your job is to work. فكل ميسر لما خلق له. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guiding every individual to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created him or her for. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, leaving here today, as I said, trying a little harder. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq sallallahu ta'ala anhu wa arda sets the best example for all of us in the most difficult time when the Prophet ﷺ was lost. And according to the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says the biggest calamity or musibah that the Muslim Ummah have actually suffered is losing me. Losing the Prophet ﷺ was the biggest calamity or musibah or test that the Muslim Ummah will ever encounter. And we need to crystallize this and embody this in our mind to understand it. So at that time, when the news hit the street that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had passed away, most of the companions couldn't even stand up, including Umar, who was the giant, the most strong among them. But the leadership of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu wa arda, which was prepared by first and foremost Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the friendship and the companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, came out after he verified that indeed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. And he stood before people and he says, "O people, من كان يعبد محمدا فإن محمدا قد مات ومن كان يعبد الله فإن الله حي لا يموت." O people, those who worship Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. It's a fact of life because all the companions, including Umar, forgot that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have written this about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. Oh Muhammad, you will die, so do everybody else. The companion, because the musibah, because of the huge news that just hit the street, he couldn't even remember the ayat. But because of the level of iman that Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu wa ardah, he remembered all this. And he said, if you worship Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he passed away. But if you truly worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forever alive. And then he recited the ayah, and I'm going to conclude with this, inshallah ta'ala. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَى أَعْقَابِكُمْ. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Muhammad is a prophet. So if he were to die or get killed, you will turn your back on your religion? You will go back and forget about Islam? Islam is not worshipping Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but indeed worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, I know I talk about longer, inshallah ta'ala. Just want to make a quick reminder, and I know Brother Khalid will do that. Many of your brothers and sisters, inshallah ta'ala, taken on this hard work of expanding this masjid. So I pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of us to be part of it, just participate in it, inshallah ta'ala, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no one else. For the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no one else. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء يا رب منهم والأموات. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واستغفروه يغفر لكم وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا. Inshallah ta'ala, before we stand up for the prayer, move on. There is so many brothers outside, inshallah.